Leon Robert Walker Jr. is here in the house. All right, I think we've got everything where we need it to be. I just want to make sure everyone knows Leon is going to shed a lot of light on a number of things. Get your notepads out. Leon, I know you're out there somewhere behind all of the imagery there. Can you hear me, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right,
I like
all right.
that intro. I like that picture there. That's nice.
Hey, man. You just see me last night trying to find some pictures for you. And thanks for sending me some stuff, too. Everybody, if there are any technical difficulties, we're gonna trudge right through because I got a lot I want to cover with Leon today. So we're gonna cram a lot in. And everybody, we hope you come back for the second show. But right now, this is the main show of the day at the moment in time. Leon, I gotta show everybody the website. So right. Let's get to that. Here we are. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and bring that down a little bit. Inspire. Let's talk about this real quick, man. You got a quote over here. They say that everybody should get a trophy, but it's up to us to find the trophy in everybody. Yep. What are we talking about here?
So everybody has a gift, a talent. Say, for instance, you and I are coaching a football team, right? And we only have slots for 10 kids. It's up to you and I to find out what that kid can really do aside from play football. Some kids don't want to play football, but they want to show up and support. So we say, hey, you know what, young man? Why don't you lead us in prayer in every game? You know what that'll do to that kid? He'll pray, people will be quiet, people will listen, and he'll get people to be motivated and happy to be on that football field just because he can pray. The next person might be really good at supporting the team manager, getting equipment together, planning trips, making sure we have food. So everybody has a gift, a talent enough in them that will inspire other people, is my point.
Got it. What is it about you that you feel is inspirational?
Yeah, I feel that because of my honesty and my courage now to talk about who I was, who I was, and who I became. Helping people, telling the truth, not afraid of people coming back at me and calling me names and putting me down. That happens. So being courageous and being strong enough to say, hey, this is who I was and this is how I fix myself.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people have feelings one way or another about you. Mm-hmm. Does that get to you?
Nah. What happened was when I first started this 28 months ago, I wasn't ready for the people to feel that way about me because for so long, for 32 years, and I was in the Navy, so nobody hardly ever put me down, called me names. I was challenged, but I was always awarded and rewarded, and I was put on a pedestal for a long time. And so when I started doing this, I'm like, well, why do y'all get so upset with me? Why do you call me names? And I'm being honest now. Well, Leon, you remind me of my husband. You remind me of my boyfriend. You look just like him. You sound just like him. You trigger me. It was. I got so much packs. It was just. And so I'm like, man, I started running away, and I started turning into a little punk. I'm like, I can't do this. I did. Yeah. I did. I said, I can't do this. And then God got me back on track. He said, you got to start helping these people, man. You can't be running from this. So boom. My ex-girlfriend's the reason why I'm doing the videos, and she was really connected to God. She knew the Bible and all that stuff. And so I started back November 2021 and been doing it straight without stopping ever since.
Wow. Okay, so when people look at your life up to this point and what you've experienced, achieved, and the things that you've done, what would you like people to remember? What are 1, 2, 3 things that you want people to remember about you up to this point in your life?
Remember that I was once broken. Remember that I found myself, and remember that you can do what I did and even more.
There's nothing about you. There is nothing about you that people can't learn from, right?
And there's nothing about me that they can't do better than I did. Yeah,
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Now, you do public speaking.
I do.
That's something that you do. Now, when you speak to others, what is your main objective when you're speaking to them in an organized setting and you're speaking to others? What is something you're trying to achieve?
Outside of narcissism, mental toughness, overcoming mental blocks, learning how to forgive, being stronger, finding the passion from within, being compassionate, knowing what you've received from your parents, whether it be DNA or genetics, um, being extremely successful, right? Being
Hmm.
driven,
Yeah.
and not being afraid to do things that's going to make you grow and make you better.
Now, when it comes to mentoring, here in the mentoring section, it says on your website, challenging life experiences can make things difficult without having someone that will help you understand life's issues. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, you can't do things by yourself. You can, but you're only going to go so far. And so what I started finding out was like, how can I find more strength from within myself? How can I be better? How can I be stronger? What do I need to do to not give up on myself and not quit and not want to stop
Hmm.
achieving my dreams? So I started finding other people that I didn't want to let down, Pax.
Hmm.
I can let myself down all day long. It doesn't mean anything. It may sting a little bit. But if you make promises to people that you really care about or people that you want to inspire to become, you let those people know and you keep those people in your corner and in your life. And that's who you go after your goals for, not yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when it comes to your becoming an author, did you ever see that in your future? That's the next section on your website. Did you ever
Never.
see yourself writing a book, dude?
No, and I'm writing my fourth book. I'm starting my
Wow.
fourth book a few years ago, but I'm working on that now. I hated reading. I hated books. I hated to smell books. I hated writing. But in the military, I had to write. I had to write evaluations to help people get into schools and get promoted. And so in 2017, I found a white man that said, "Hey, this is how you write." And he told me, "So you need to start showing your story and stop telling it." So when you show your
Ah,
story, you include the senses, the see, hear, smell, touch, taste senses in your writing. So you bring people into your story, and that makes your writing better. That makes your book more appealing to whatever crowd you're trying to appeal to. But I never saw myself as a writer. I hated books. I hated reading.
wow. And look at you. You stepped into that arena.
I did.
Now, you got a section here that says what I do. Um, it talks about I help kids and young adults. Anybody that's watching this right now, even if it's in the replay later on, go ahead and go to the website, pull it up. You can join us as we scroll through it. But I help kids and young adults make it through pain, suffering, and then develop their own vision and blueprint for life. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I come from a lot of pain. I come from a lot of suffering, and so one of the hardest things for a person like me to do is to say, you know what? Let me try to join the military. I think that's hard for anybody to come from being broken and dysfunctional and unhappy and unmotivated to trying to go into the government to fight for this country to being unbroken, very disciplined, having structure, having a vision, and being tough and strong. So I had to turn myself around and rebuild myself. The person you see now is somebody that I created, and I became accustomed to who I am now. And so I didn't start off like this. I start off crying, wetting the bed, weak, right, broken, no confidence, low self-esteem, and I didn't want to say that person. So I had to put myself into the fire. I had to put myself into the cold. I had to put myself into the tough things that I had to encounter. And I had to endure a lot more, but it made me stronger. It made me better, and that's why I'm here today.
Were there moments where you felt, I just need to quit?
Yeah. When I was a child, I had two suicidal ideations and maybe one as an adult where even in the military, I just got tired and tired and tired because I was struggling. I was battling myself. I was fighting against myself. I had fighting against these demons. I didn't believe in God. I wanted to believe in God. I wanted to see God. I saw the devil. So yeah, I was always struggling and fighting against myself.
There are moments in a young man's life or a young woman's life where they need to change their mindset. What are some things that you have said to the 220 some odd thousand young people that you've been working with and talked to, what are some things that you say to help a young person change their mindset if they feel like they want to quit?
You don't have to be smart to be successful. All you have to do is want something out of life. And once you start it, don't quit. Don't give up. That's 100% failure if you quit. But if you keep going, you got a 50-50 chance. And those chances are pretty high. So I'll tell a lot of them, figure out what you do. Work on 5 things at one time. And you are guaranteed to come out on top doing 2 or 3 of those things, sometimes 4 or 5. But you got to find what you like. You got to find your forte in life, your niche. And once you find those things, it doesn't seem like so hard. It doesn't seem like work. Like I get up every day and I start I work on this book. I might write 10, 20 pages per day because I love writing. I love writing a story about different things.
So you find something that makes you tick every day.
I feel it. If I feel it, I feel it. That's what I'm supposed to do. It could be grooming a dog. It could be clipping my dog's toenails. It could be cutting somebody's hair. It could be speaking. It could be like cleaning, replacing light bulbs. Whatever it can be. There's one guy that replaced the light bulb once or twice a year on his tower, and they pay him $20,000 just to go up and come out.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So you can find things that most people see. I don't go with the status quo. I like thinking outside the box. I stay outside the box. Most people are in the comfort zone in the box, and that's why people like you and I, Pax, work for 30 years, and we didn't have to work for 30 years.
Yep, that's true.
But now look at you. You got your own syndicated show, whereas you can do this 4 or 5 times a day if you want to. You can pick up and go do this in Japan or China. But you found something that you like to do, and you have a nice voice.
Yeah, yeah. We know what that means. We've had that discussion. The mindset plays a big part, right, man? Right?
Huge, 100% guaranteed. Plays a huge part.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people end up not achieving what they started. Right? The start is not always the true story. It's how things end. Yeah. Dude, what's going on in these pictures here, man, on your website? Great pictures, by the way, of you.
Thank you. Okay, that one top left, with 3 of us, we ran my first marathon.
Wow.
The one to the left of that, speaking to me, and from my right to the right of it, I'm at a bookstore in Cleveland talking about my book Broken to a group of people. The picture in my uniform, that's my retirement ceremony. I received a flag. The one at the bottom of that, we had an event on base where they were running a 12-mile race, and it started on the base, and it started at Fort Sheridan, which is 12 miles from the base, and it ended on base. And me with that shirt on there, Cleveland is the city. I was in Cleveland at the lakefront. That was part of my video writing my first book.
Wow, look at that. Okay, the one where you're 12 miles from the base, what year was that? How old were you there?
That was probably between 2009 and 2012. Wow. I was 43 years old, maybe 44.
You said Broken. It's this book here.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know you're an author of books. Some of them do, but they may know about the current ones. Which one was first? The one on no porn here or the Broken?
The one on no porn it's a 43-page ebook. I just put that together to keep kids safe from watching porn. It was more like a training guide. I didn't really publish that. I didn't really promote that at all. That was the first one. That was in 2017, somewhere in there. And then Broken came out in 2018, March, I believe. And then Love Ship came out in 2021, March. And then 7 Loveless Traits came out March 2023.
That's this one. This one up here.
The last book, the blue book, One Point, that'll be out next year. That's volume two of Broken. Broken talks about me from age 5 to 17. 1 Point goes from age 17 to 22.
Okay, so this one right here, the survival instincts of a child. What were, I know there may be a number of them. What were some of the survival instincts of a child that you see today in some men today?
Well, survival in a negative way is suppressing their emotions, their feelings. Surviving the fact that, well, I can't, if I don't tell I love her, then she don't think I love her, then I'm okay. She's not gonna hurt me. If I don't communicate, if I don't tell her a lot of things about me, then she can't hold things against me. So suppression, not communicating, not saying I love you, not having empathy. Those are narcissistic traits that develop in our childhood. Those are not good traits to have because you become distant, you avoid, you become emotionally detached from people. And so survival instincts is men not opening up enough to their women, or women not open up, women that are narcissistic not opening up enough to their men to understand who they're dealing with or who they're married to. So communication, a lack of communication, like going to my book, The Seven Loveless Traits, you have love languages and then you have love less languages, right? So sometimes a love language might be communication, but my love less language is a lack of communication. So survival traits is people protecting their heart and their mind and soul and spirit based on what happened to them as a child. If when they weren't able to protect their heart, mind, soul, and spirit, and things were taken from them, like their innocence and their virginity. So survival instincts of a child, I became very protective of myself, and I suppressed a lot of things.
So suppression becomes the running theme. If I'm just trying to throw this out there. You know how it goes, man. Just correct me if I got it wrong. Suppression becomes the thing that becomes a survival instinct for some men or women that can lead to narcissism. If I
Oh
understood you
yeah,
correctly.
yeah, because you forget when you suppress, you block it out. You forget how to understand people's emotions and feelings. You forget, you block out. You don't want any parts of how to connect emotionally to someone, right? And then
Mm,
you have things that, well, I want to have sex, so we're gonna have sex. So I'm gonna talk about sex, but after that, I'm not gonna talk about you anymore. I'm gonna talk to you anymore. I'm gonna touch you because I want to have sex, but after that, we have sex. I'm not gonna cuddle. I'm not gonna hold your
mm.
hand. Those things are being emotionally attached, which is a narcissistic trait. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So being emotionally attached, if a person doesn't work on that, I'm going to go back up here. You brought this book up, The Seven Loveless Traits. This book, according to what you have here on the cover, acquiring knowledge, understanding, clarity, and breaking free from narcissism. So a person can have this as instincts as a child, but here, this book, you're talking about breaking free from narcissism.
Yep. Yep. Finally, at age 50, I'm 58. I wrote that book at 55, published it at 57. Finally, I want to come out and tell people, hey, this is really how it goes for me.
For you, it's for you. Have you met other narcissists,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on that?
Lee Hammock is a good one. You want to? You should interview Lee. Lee is a good one. He's one of the well-known narcissistic
Hmm.
people on the internet. If you want me to connect you, I will. But Lee, I met other ones. I met him. I never talked to Dr. Vacnan at all. I watched his videos though.
And
Um,
you know what we talked about last night? I was going like, dude, I want you to meet him.
yeah,
I want to do a show with both of you. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead. Go
that'd be pretty
ahead.
cool. But those are the only two. And there's another guy, Raw Motivations, Ben,
Hmm.
white guy. He's very well versed in narcissism. He's diagnosed as well. He'll be somebody for you to interview too. But
Hmm.
yeah, when I meet him, I know who they are. It's easy for me to be around narcissistic people, rather they're overt, covert,
I
malignant.
like the way you said that.
Yeah, I
Easy.
can. Yeah, easy because Pax. There are a lot in the military that haven't been diagnosed, and
Oh,
me knowing who I am and getting my diagnosis, I could see those people coming a mile away, and I would just,
really?
yeah. A lot of times I play with them, I play with their mind, I toy with them, and then yeah, it wasn't cool, but because I knew who they were and they were just like me, it was okay to treat them like that, which is not okay to ever treat anybody like that. But since they were mistreating other people, I let them see how it felt.
In the military?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's thousands of there's thousands of narcissistic people in the military. Yeah,
Mm. Dude,
easy.
you dropping knowledge, man. You had to
Yeah,
get you on TV talking stuff like this. Okay,
right.
so when it comes to this particular book, The Loveless Traits, what are some loveless traits that a woman should be aware of? Because sometimes, maybe you can speak to this right now. Sometimes a woman can be empowered, or a man, with this information, but here they go right back down that rabbit hole with a narcissist again. What are your thoughts on that
Well,
and some of these loveless traits?
I got a chapter in there. It's towards the end of the book. It's called Titles and Status. So when people have like entertainers, senior
Hmm.
people in the military, government officials, professional athletes, when you have a title and you have a status, People kiss your butt. People put you on a pedestal. People want to be around you. People like you. People love you. And that's all you care about is what people can do for you. You're not
Mm.
thinking about giving back. You don't do anything in the community. You don't help people with money. You don't do, food drives. You don't say I love you. You don't take your husband, wife out to dinner that often. You got them based on your titles and your status. Now another one is bad. Words of affirmation, where narcissistic people have words of condemnation, where they'll condemn you with their words, with putting you down and calling you out and yelling and screaming. So that's another loveless trait.
Most of the time, the mother is the one that's spoken of as being narcissistic.
Hmm.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, but we forget that my father had a good and bad impact on me because he died from being an alcoholic. I wanted to drink when I saw my father drink as a kid. My father used to come home. I was terrified of my father. I would pee my pants when he pulled up in the driveway. When I heard his car or truck pull up, it was it was a nightmare for me. I wanted to go run and hide because I knew either he was going to come in and he's going to boss us around, or he and my mother was going to get into a fight, argument. He'd choke her or punch her or slap her or something. So my dad instilled fear in me, and he scared the hell out of me, and he scared the hell into me too. And so I had to become tough because my dad left me with no other choice but to become tough. There was times where my sister was much more tougher than I was, and I was like, why am I feeling like I'm soft and I feel like a girl? Not that that's a bad thing, but I was a young man, but I felt soft. I felt intimidated. I didn't have any confidence. I had low self esteem, and so my dad used to come around. And I got old. I'm like, I can't take this no more. I learned how to box because he started punching on me and stuff. I'm like, man, I don't like this. So he, in a good way, he made me tougher, but in a bad way, he instilled fear, and I didn't know anything about love. I wanted to love. I loved my dad as best as I could, but he was a hell of a man. But it was always he come around. I always had to be tough and strong and stand up straight and and deal with life. And so it was good and bad with my dad, but overall,
You
great man.
you showing empathy, emotions of concern and care, or as it were, the soft side of Leon was not acceptable, you would say?
Oh no, no, you can't. In the black community, they tell
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
suck it
yeah.
up, man
Oh, yeah.
up, you a little punk, quit crying, you a little sissy, crying is for girls. Oh yeah, how dare I cry? Now they know I cried a couple times and I got ridiculed so bad, my tear ducts dried up for probably 30 years.
Wow. Wow. And wait, and so we're talking like you're not the only person on the planet, right? There's tons of men, we've talked before, that are going down this same road and they're carrying on this narcissistic traits and behavior, this loveless language.
A whole lot, a whole hundreds of thousands, Pax, hundreds of thousands, easy.
And many women become susceptible to those types of relationships, right?
Yep, and they want to fix the man. They want to help him. They want to rebuild him. Women are naturally nurturing people, nurturing beings, so they want to fix this dude. They don't give up because they don't want to put him out there in the street by himself or give up where somebody else takes him along and takes him away from you after the woman put in all the work. Yeah,
After she put in all the work, the next thing
yeah,
you know, somebody else gets the fruits
that's
of,
right. That's
of her
right.
labor.
Yep.
Uh, Now, you do have fans.
Hmm.
People appreciate the effort and the work that you've done. What do you think of your fans?
I so that's a good question. From 2020 to 2023 now, speaking mainly with TikTok and YouTube, all its platforms, I've amassed over 400,000. I call them listeners, not followers, but we'll call them followers so people understand. 400,000 followers in 2 years, and out of those 400,000 followers, 99.8% of those followers are women. The small 0.2% of followers of men, only seven have reached out to me. Of those 400,000 people,
Hmm.
7 men have reached out. Of those
Wow.
7 men, yeah, of those 7 men that reached out, 3 are consistent. Every day, every week, they talk to me, guaranteed. Of those 3 that are consistent, nobody's over the age of 40.
Nobody's over the age of 40.
Absolutely zero.
That's a lot of narcissistic traits and behaviors that are there that are staying quiet.
That's
It
my
doesn't
point.
mean that they're not looking and peeping in and being voyeurs to the conversations, but
Yep,
they're not
that's my
speaking
point.
up and speaking out, right?
That's my point. Hundreds of thousands of them, right? And those women, they text me every day, call me every day. They show up. They look at my videos. Not the men. Men don't want to hear what I have to say, Pax, and
No,
I'm okay with that.
yeah. You know, they got that. I have to. Now I'm going to segue to this, man, because you know, when we get together, we just talking. It's not really a
Hmm.
show, but
Hmm.
you know that gets me because I've only been doing it for a short time, and it's amazing how many men are exactly what you just said. They don't want
But
to participate in the arena of this conversation.
yeah, and so I don't know if your daughters are married or not, but look at the choices they have to
No,
make.
they're not. Yeah, I
And
know.
so,
Yeah,
yeah, and so they'll
yeah.
find, you know what? This is not a gay thing or anything like that, or a bisexual thing like anything like that. But they will find more comfort in being around women and getting what they need, not sexually, but just getting their needs met. Maybe an emotional connection from women more so than men, because the men are absent when it comes to that. I know because I was absent when it comes to emotional connection.
Now, when you were absent, man, I love that you just mentioned that absent. Um, I'm debating what I'm going to say this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That should be book number 5, absent. But yeah, so
Right?
that's a cool title. But there, when you were absent, could you see it in the eyes of the women that you
Oh
were in a
yeah.
relationship with that you were absent?
They knew. They told me. They felt it. They saw it. Yeah, I was absent. I was in the bedroom, but I was absent in the bedroom, Pax. When I had sex with women, I wasn't verbal at all. And they would always ask, Leon, did you enjoy it? I'm like, yeah, what are you talking about? I didn't know that I wasn't verbal until a woman told me. I'm like, I don't know how to handle that. I don't know. What do I say? Ooh, baby, I didn't know what to say. So, because as a kid, I was always told to be quiet when they were touching me and molesting me and stuff. So it stuck with me as an adult. But yeah, I was absent in the bedroom. I was absent in the kitchen. I was absent in the living room. I was, yeah, disconnected. My ex girlfriend from 1991, I saw her not too long ago. She said, Leon, you were emotionally detached back in the 90s, in the 80s. And I'm like,
Dude,
yeah.
that's
She just
30
told me
some
this.
odd years. Dude, that's a lot. No,
She
it's
just told me
40
that
some
the
odd
other
years
day.
ago.
Yeah, and I was with her for 87 and 6 years, 5 years. Yeah, she told me that. So I was like, still mad at her when she said that recently. I'm like, look, all right, you're right, I was. I just didn't want to hear anything bad about myself, but I had to
Yeah,
hear it.
I was gonna say it was bringing up that little dark spot that you didn't want to. Yeah,
Yeah, didn't
you
want
didn't
to
want
get.
to hear that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to hear. Do you have a lot of moments like that where stuff pop up? You just mind your own business one day, and here it comes. The past comes and goes. Chump chump. You
Yeah,
take a
but what I
bite.
do now is I face it and I deal with it. Especially if it's somebody that said, Leon, remember this a few years ago? I'm like, yeah, look, we can talk about it. I'm sorry. And yeah, if I'm trying to help people, I need to learn how to face my flaws and
Yeah.
adversity at times of adversity too.
Now that's a challenge for men, wouldn't you say? Especially if they don't. They watch your stuff, but they don't want to participate, and they're over 40. This is one of the things that creates a problem.
It will create a problem. It has created a problem. It will continue to create a problem. Lack of communication, bad communication, no communication, honesty, dishonesty, gaslighting, right? Ghosting, running away from problems, avoiding issues. Yeah, all of that.
I'm gonna put this up, and I'm gonna touch on something. We're gonna look over your books real quick here. Let me do this real quick. Can you see it there? There's a section here in one of the paragraphs says, born in 1965 as a black kid growing up in the inner city of Cleveland and East Cleveland in the 70s and early 80s. You mentioned some of the things that you were exposed to: poverty, racism, and violence. Speak to that, if you would, please, briefly.
Yeah, the poverty um, is a lot. It has a lot to do with my drive and ambition and being overbearing, because I vowed never to go back to being in the
Mm,
impoverished type of mindset or atmosphere. And so
okay.
when we moved with my dad, when my dad left the house, most of the money left the house. When he left the
Oh.
house, we lived in a house without water, without lights, without gas, and barely food.
Mm.
So I remember how it might have been a few months to a year. I just remember moving with a lady that my mother said I was going to move with. So before I moved with Irene, she passed away a few years ago. May she rest in peace. I started stealing because I was always hungry.
Mm,
I was always hungry and I was always dirty. And so that poverty thing, after we left my mom and moved my dad, we moved into poverty. But we had, first time in a long time, I had clothes. First time in a long time, we had a refrigerator that worked and lights, water, and gas. And so I was like, poverty became, I'm like, this is cool. I'm good with this. But I was embarrassed because it was a 1 bedroom apartment and it was three of us, my dad, my sister, and myself. And so
mhm,
the poverty really pissed me off because as I got older, I didn't like. I had girlfriends and that I was living with, and the lights would be cut off and the water would be cut off, and I would go ballistic
mm,
because it made me think about what I lost as a child. I'm like, we both working. There's no need for the water and lights to be cut off. I would blow up. So racism wasn't. I didn't see a lot of it. It's in Cleveland, but we had a few white families in our neighborhood, and we got along great with them. We cut Miss Pelican's grass. We shoveled Miss Berkshire's driveway. We did things for the white ladies in our neighborhood. So the racism was there, but I was never called the N word in Cleveland. I was called
mhm.
the N word one time in the Navy in 32 years. So it was round. Maybe I didn't see it or understand it, but it was there. And what was the other one? Racism, poverty, and what else was the other one?
And violence you have there.
Yeah, the violence was I've seen my mother get her teeth knocked out. I've seen my dad choke my mother. I've seen my mother pull a knife on my dad. I heard my mother shoot at my dad, try to kill my dad. There was fights in the neighborhood. There was robberies. There were bank robbers. There were people that stole cars from my family, and my father's friends robbed the bank. So that was just like something that appealed to me. Then I learned how to box, and I started liking to punch people. And I always wanted to rob a bank, so I was a ball of fury, Pax. So yeah, the violence was a part of who I was.
And then it mentions here on your website that you somehow survived your youth, but it says you determined to learn from your mistakes and succeeded in seemingly in a hospitable world, a world that was not welcoming to you. It says that even your young mind, according to your words, his young mind warped, his eyes deceived. He saw and engaged in things no child his age should ever see or do.
hmm So I started watching porn at 7. Was molested at 5. Lost my virginity at 8. So I was doomed from the beginning. I had an uncle that used to touch me between the ages of 10 and 12, off and on. He's always put his hands in my pants, And so, yeah, I grew anger issues early on, and I grew a deep lust for women early on. And my first, what I thought was love, were my cousins, incest. And so here you have who you're dealing with now, a man with NPD.
Right. The environment, the atmosphere, you are able to get to where you are right now. What's your advice if somebody's going through these very things and they're a young person going through these very, you call them demons, struggles that were dumped upon you? What's your words of advice?
Tell people, get help, get therapy. I should have gotten help when I was in the first grade. But back then in the 70s, that was 1970, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
let somebody know how you're feeling. And I just started letting people know how I was feeling since I was 11. When my dad left the house, my dad didn't even know how I was feeling. He didn't know that I was touchy. He didn't know that I was watching porn. Didn't know any of that. My mother didn't know either. But I would say to people, tell people how you're feeling and get some help, get some therapy. Let somebody know. Because if not, you wind up like me. Now I'm better off. But I, one of my psychiatrists,
I got you back. We good.
one of my psychiatrists said she didn't know how I was still alive.
Hmm. Wow.
So get help, get therapy, or you might make it through like me, and I got help therapy at 46. But if not, you're gonna have some suicide ideations. You're gonna get in trouble. You can go to jail. You're gonna break some people's heart, or you might have your heart broken.
Gonna break some people's heart. Gonna have your heart broken. Susie with a Z, one of our NATV channel hosts, is in the chat, and she's got some words for you there, Leon. She says,
hmm
"Leon, I want to thank you as you have literally helped save my life." And she also has this to say to you as well. You can see that there on the screen. Thank you so much, Susie, for being here. She mentions that she can relate so much to your childhood.
Thank you, Susan.
Uh,
I appreciate that.
and I gotta do this. You got the 1 point: mental struggles, secrets, and success.
Yeah.
Tell me, tell me what people can expect. Just a teaser.
So what they can expect from that book next year uh, is how my first 4 years in the Navy went, how I got into the Navy, the struggles, and then when I joined, oh, it was on fire. Back then, it was
Uh,
on.
where does
I
that
was
smile come from? Is that good or bad?
both
Both.
because it was like I was very, very demonic, very evil, very sneaky. I had a lot of fun. I slept with a lot of women, and I'm not proud of that. I was proud of it then. I traveled the world. I had a lot of money. I spent a lot of money. I lost a lot of money. I drank a lot of liquor. I was a thief. I cursed people out. I fought. Yeah, I didn't fight a lot. I didn't have a lot of fights in the military, but because I went in, I knew how to box. So yeah, my first 4 years was like some of the best times of my life and some of the hardest times of my life.
It's where you started on this major path, maybe. Correct me if I got this wrong. You started down this major path of creating havoc and pain,
Yeah,
but not really knowing that you were still surviving on the instincts of a child.
exactly. And that's what I was doing. I didn't know. Right.
Dude. So when somebody brought that to your attention, it was like you're going like you must be out of your mind. You thought, hey, I'm doing just fine.
Yeah. My my when I would tell people my story when I was younger, when I was deep in it, they would be looking at me like, "What the hell? Why are you telling me that?" They couldn't relate to my story and they didn't want to hear anymore. So I'm like, all right, well, whatever. But my first psychiatrist told me, she said, "I don't know how you still alive," and I was like, well, I'm here." So it didn't strike me as bad when she said that, just because I didn't want to hear anything else. So I got the heck out of her office, you know.
Well, when it comes to words of advice and helping kids when it comes to porn, what would you recommend? What would you say as advice?
Don't watch it too young. If somebody's showing it to you, tell your parents because next thing you know, they're gonna be molesting you and they may be turning you into somebody that you didn't think that you could become. So people become gay from that. They want to maybe become transgender from that, which it's okay if you're gay, if it's okay if you're transgender. But if you have other people that are touching you inappropriately, that's not okay. We become who we become. We like who we like. We do what we do. But if the older people are touching, like older people touching me, family and friends alike, let somebody know. Tell somebody. Because porn, I was spending a whole lot of money on porn packs in the military, buying movies, buying prostitutes, and that's what it leads to.
And the advice that you give comes from firsthand experience. A lot of people may not believe it. A lot of people may not agree with it, but you know for a fact. I like the words that you put here is a clear conscience and strict, easy to follow guide for your kids to combat and win their addictions to porn.
Yeah.
You speak from the standpoint. I'll finish what it says. It says the first step to taking their life back, loving their family, and building their self love and confidence. You
Yeah.
know, it's not a subject in which a lot of people want to stick their necks out on, but you did, and kudos to you for doing that. I want to ask you about this book. We've touched on them. We're delving a little bit deeper here, but you talk about a love ship.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit more about that for people who've never met you and have no idea about what this book is about.
Yeah. So that book is about courtship, loveship, I forgot what else, but for a healthy relationship,
Friendship, courtship,
friendship.
companionship,
Yeah,
leadership for a healthy relationship.
yeah. I wrote that book 2020, 21. It's all about what I did, what I didn't do, what I knew how to do. It talks about, everybody needs to give a 100, 100 in a relationship. It's not 50, 50.
Hmm.
Because if you giving 50, I'm giving 50. If I lose my 50, now you got to give 100, 150 for us to survive. It talks about the women and the men sharing their health issues with each other. Because, so for instance, if I don't tell you that I got diabetes, which I don't, if I don't tell you that I have diabetes, and one day, we married, all of a sudden I lose my right eye or my right foot, my drive foot. Now, who's going to drive? I got to learn how to drive my left, which is hard. That's going to hurt the family. Different things like that. Do we get our teeth cleaned? Do we get teeth exams? how is my cholesterol? Because I had a heart
Hmm.
attack August 13th, 2013. So she needs to know these things. But what comes up after that? Am I taking my medicine? You know, how do I get screened? You know, am I good with money or am I bad with money? You know, so a whole lot of stuff in there about the components of relationship. You know, when you marry somebody else that has kids, will you allow me to discipline your kids, or do you want their dad to just discipline the kids? In the household, who's going to do the chores? Who's going to take out the garbage? Who's going to wash the dishes? Who's going to wash the sinks, the tubs? You know, so it's a whole lot of things in there about relationships and the components of relationship and how you navigate through it.
Wow. Most of the time, when you're doing your videos, you post videos. How often do you post videos? I didn't ask that. How often
Pretty
do
much
you?
daily. I do one a day, sometimes two a day.
Okay, all right. Now, do the videos come from you just going like, "Hey, you know what? I got something on my mind," or do you have an agenda?
I don't have an agenda packs like Professor Vaknin said. My mind is never shut off. It just keeps going
Yeah,
and going and going.
yeah,
So I got videos ready to go now. I got a list of things that I write down when I wake up or when I'm dreaming. I wake up. If I can remember it, I write it down. I don't have an agenda. Just whatever I
yeah,
see that morning I wake up, boom, I
yeah,
post it.
yeah. You know, we talked about this, but you and him, man, dude, you guys got a lot in common. Seriously, he's the same way. He just like if he wants to talk about it, would you say mine just never shuts off? It's just
Yeah.
going all the time.
Yeah.
Now, if your mind's going all the time, when do you sleep, or how much do you sleep?
Average about. So I listen to these things called Calm, and it's like another friend of mine. She starts sending me these videos about the fireplace and water and rain. I put that on and I get into a deep sleep. So about 5 hours a day. I don't need much.
Yeah. Okay. Now, 5 hours a day, the day in the life of an MPD, at book number 6, man. Book number
Yeah.
6, day
Yeah.
in the life of MPD. Okay. How much time exercising? How much time? I know sometimes you got to get something to eat because that's what you were doing last night when we were talking, and it was snow outside, and I was looking at you like you were crazy. I was going like, dude, I would just tell them to deliver it, but you got in the car and the snow was going. What's your life like, man?
Always going, always thinking, always moving, uh, always wanting something different. It
I'm
won't
laughing
stop.
because it's true. You
It's
don't
true.
sit still. You could go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it won't
You
stop.
know, it's a good laugh, man. It's just like we're in the
Yeah,
barbershop
I'm cool
together.
with
Just
it.
like if we were in the barbershop together, you know how it
Hey,
goes.
hey, I'm
It's-
cool with it because it wore my ex-wife out. She's like, "You're always moving and going."
yep.
I'm like a big kid, Pat. I'm like a big kid, and so like we're talking now. I'm talking to you. I'm thinking about a video, and I'm thinking about some food. So my brain is like,
Absolutely in the I want to say for all the time we've been knowing each other, the short time we've known each other, that is pinpoint you. I've
yeah,
been waiting to save it, but that is so you. You
yeah,
either thinking of a video and you're thinking about food. Don't you
yeah,
think about exercising too, though? Or are you gonna
yeah.
go
I
do
do.
some?
I do.
Yeah,
I run
yeah.
miles. I do sit-ups,
Uh,
push-ups. I jump rope. I hit weights. So yeah, exercising too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now, when it comes to mentoring individuals, adults or children, let's talk adults right now.
Hmm.
Mentor people right now in this live stream that we're doing. Just imagine whoever you want to say something to. Let's pick a group, any group you want. You pick it. You mean not let's pick it. You pick a group in your mind, and you're going to mentor that group as if you're in front of this corporation right now, and you got a public speaking engagement. What group do you have in mind, and what do you want to say to them?
I'll pick a group that are transgender because they are pushed to the side. They are verbally abused, mentally abused. They're not accepted because that's hard to do, Pax. It's hard to say, you know what? I'm talking to a group of transgender people. How many people do that? Not many people do it. It's easy for me to say, you know what, Pax, I'm gonna talk to you and your daughters, or hey, I'm gonna go talk to the church, or I'm gonna go to the Boys and Girls Club. That group of people will be right there, ready to go. And people like, hey, Leon's coming, come on in. But if you got, I want to talk to transgender people, they'll go, well, I don't know who's transgender. I don't know where to find them, but take some time out and spend some time and say, you know what? We have two down the hall. I have one over here an hour from me. Let me call her or him and say, hey, Leon speaking. Tell you all to look. Don't let people hurt you. Don't let people put you down. This is who you are. Feel who you are. Love who you are. Don't let people try to change you into going back to not transition, whatever. And there's so much stuff going on now that people are are people are prejudiced, and we don't even use that word anymore. We hear racism, but we don't hear prejudice, because if you don't like somebody because it's transgender, then you're prejudiced, you know. And then people are that don't like people that are transgender, maybe they don't like you because you smoke weed or you smoke cigarettes or you shoot heroin. Maybe they don't like you because of that. I'm all about, being fair and equality. So I would pick that group. It's easy for me to pick a group of people that are unemployed. It's easy for me to pick a group of athletes. It's easy for me to pick a group and say, hey, I need a group of Girl Scouts. Oh, that's easy, Leon. But as soon as I say, hey, I want to talk to a group of people that are transgender, they'll go, oh. Right? But they're people.
When you say prejudice, and that's it's I'm glad you mentioned that word. Now you say the word prejudice. You felt people being prejudiced towards you, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just you know how it goes. I'm just throwing stuff at you, and I want
Hmm.
you to really tell me what you think. What did it feel like when people were prejudiced towards you?
It hurt my feelings. It made me angry.
Okay, that's what I
And
was
then I
gonna.
say, you know what? Because I know you're prejudiced towards me, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna outdo you. I did a lot of that in the military. Not saying they were prejudiced or racist, but it kept me very, 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 very competitive, because they could have easily hurt my feelings. I could have easily went into a shell,
Hmm.
and then people go into a shell, they become dark, right? They become dark, and they need solace, and they want to be detached, and they go away. And guess what? Then they might commit suicide. So I wasn't going back to the little kid that already had suicide ideations as a child, because people called me a punk, called me a sissy, told me I cried too much. Oh, you're not gonna send me back there, buddy. And I hated bullies. I despise bullies.
Okay, I wanted to go down that road too. You beat me to it almost as if you read my mind. Um, well, what is your feeling and stance on bullies? You kind of touched on that. What's your words of advice? Because a lot of young people, a lot of adults are facing bullies.
Yep. And what happens is, Pax, that's a lifelong. It could be a lifelong injury. It could be a lifelong thought process. It could be a lifelong mindset. Because I got bullied in junior high school, and I never forget it. And what's spooky about that is that the guys that bully me, when I go to Cleveland, every now and then I see them. They don't even realize that I'm there.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they don't even realize that I'm there. And my high school, my junior high school, W.H. Kirk Junior High School, was full of bullies, people that were taller and bigger. They were smoking cigarettes in the seventh grade. They were smoking weed in seventh grade. They were drinking. And so I tell people that have been bullied to, don't accept it anymore. Come out of that shell. Don't let somebody that bullied you when you were 12 and you're 30 now to have that control and power over your mind, because they still do. They still meet somebody that bullied them and it's like, oh, they get scared. No, not me. I'm facing that. We're gonna deal with this. And there's been times where I went back to Cleveland and I see these guys and I wanted to hurt them, but I said, no, I'm not gonna do that, because they wouldn't even realize. Oh, I don't remember bullying you, but I remember you bullied me. You don't forget that. People don't forget being bullied. Spouses don't forget being bullied. Men and women don't forget it, and it causes people to want to commit suicide, and it also causes people to want to hurt somebody and kill somebody.
Yeah. You're willing to talk about a number of different things.
Yeah.
What are some things about you? One or two. What is something that your followers, listeners, have no idea about you? I've asked you that question once before, and the answers were amazing. I'm not. You either got something this time or not. But what is something about you now that your listeners would find amazing to learn about you?
Although I'm a very masculine dude, I'm very strong. I spent 32 years in the military. I have more traits from my mother than my father.
Wow.
I'm not feminine at all.
I get you.
But from a mindset point of view, I have more of my mother's brain than my
Hmm.
dad's brain. And I know that for a fact because I've studied my parents. I know what they did. I know what they didn't do. I know how they responded to things. I know how they acted. I know how they reacted.
Hmm.
I have both parents, of course,
Yeah.
but I have more from my mother than my dad. My sister had more from my dad than my mother.
Hmm.
So she
So,
was tougher than me as a child, and I didn't like that. So I
so
was
you're.
fighting her. Yeah,
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I was fighting that
Hmm.
mindset. I'm a little boy. I'm supposed to be like my dad, but I feel like my mother. And just so you know, there's nothing wrong with feeling like you're more closer or more like your mom than your dad.
You're inclined to show some of the traits or a lot of the traits of your mom. What are some of those traits?
Oh yeah, they're narcissistic, and I'm not. Yeah, they're narcissistic. Being emotionally detached, being mentally strong, too strong, right? Being very,
Mm.
very overbearing, being very demanding,
Oh, okay.
being jealous, not
Mm.
communicating. I used women. My mother was a hell of a lady, and she was a very. I was a leader in the military. I was able
Mm.
to multitask because of my mother. I see my dad do things too, but my mother started me off with the Boy Scouts. Because of her, I was a Boy Scout. She's my den mother. Because of my mother, I knew how to swim. Because of my mother, I played baseball. Because of my mother, I went to my first football practice. And so because my mother, she worked at a bar, I'm able to multitask. My dad gave me a lot, don't get me wrong, but I remember exactly what my mother gave me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Would you say some of those traits that you picked up from your mom proved to be things that, well, set you on this path where you not only just started telling your story, but you were able to become this Black entrepreneur?
I think that mostly comes from my dad because my dad worked at Ford. He did 34 years. Then after he retired, he started buying houses and rehabbing houses. So I tapped into that, rehabbing
Got it.
houses, learning how to do woodwork and plumbing and plastering walls. So my dad, that part, the entrepreneur part stuff. Both my parents had outstanding work ethic, but my
Okay.
dad went more
All
into a
right.
whole nother business after he retired, and
Mm-hmm.
so I too retired from the Navy and went
Yeah.
into a
Yeah.
whole nother
Hold on.
business. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I got it. Got it.
So it's
Uh,
crucial that you understand your parents on every level and from
yeah.
very different aspects.
Okay. Let's get into that just for a second here. You said you studied your parents, as you just said a few moments ago. And you talked
Yeah.
about now understanding your parents.
Yeah.
Why is that important for a person, whether they have diagnosed MPD or not? Why is it important for anybody to really study and understand their parents to the best of their ability?
Say, for instance, you studied your mom and you go, wow, my mother was an All American in track.
Okay.
How did she do that? Well, her mother was an All State in track. So if my grandmother was All State in track and my mother was All American, then maybe I can go to the Olympics. I can run just like my mother. Or you
Yeah.
go, so when I found out my dad used to box in the Army, what did I do? I learned how to box and I became really good at it.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see. Yeah.
So you can say, wow, I saw my mother's yearbook from 1930 and it says she was most likely to succeed. So do I have that in me? Of course you do.
Yeah.
Wow, I looked at my dad's yearbook from 1962 and he had the biggest personality. Wow. Why don't I have it? Wait a minute. I do have my dad's personality. So it can start taking on a life of its own. You can become an architect, you can become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Okay? My grandfather was in the Army Air Force. My dad was in the Army. I joined the Army.
Yeah.
I'm the only person in my family that's written a book. My parents, oh wow, my parents dropped out in the 8th grade. Wow, I went to school
Wow.
until the 12th grade. Oh, I enrolled in college.
Yeah.
So
Look at
you
that.
find out what you can do. You can surpass your parents, or you can be like them and be very focused and driven and passionate
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
life. Be a track star, right? Have the
Yeah.
biggest personality. Be the class president. And I'm like, so I learned. My grandfather made drums with his hands. In the second and third grade, I started playing drums. Then I started playing the saxophone. I was exposed to a lot, but then the things I didn't know I was exposed to, I started thinking about my parents. My mother can multitask. She was a bartender. She handled personalities. People liked her. People were jealous of her. She can
Yeah.
run a cash register. She can order liquor. Blah, 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 blah. I did it too.
Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so that made you open to growth instead of shutting you down when it comes to the work ethic and other
Exactly.
things.
So I knew what I was capable of.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of your lineage, because of the things that they achieve. But at the same time, as you've done with your books, you've also shown that part of how an atmosphere and the environment and what you were exposed to, it brought along a lot of other things. But you find yourself right now stepping over those things and moving forward.
Yeah, because I see my parents step over things and move forward. I see my grandmother step over things and move forward. I see my father step over things and move forward. So guess what? I don't have a choice.
You, uh, Dude, that's a good one. That's book number 8 or 7.
right?
I don't have a choice. I'm gonna keep giving them to you. And if
Right,
anybody's stealing the title of these books, you should be ashamed of yourself. These are Leon titles for his book. I
right,
came up with them. It's free branding right here in front of you.
right,
But you had no choice. And sometimes it helps in your mentoring when you share that with others because you're really letting them know, hey, look, you know what? You have no choice. You can succeed. Succession is really, or succeeding, I should say, is something that is possible. It doesn't have to be where I can't achieve because of some of these dark moments or dark traits.
right. Exactly. Right. Don't give up. Don't quit. Find out what else can you do.
Sound like one of your videos coming soon.
Yeah. Right.
You go like Paxton, hurry up, get done with the show because I'm ready to go do a video. Look, I see it on your face. I see it on your face. Look, man, I appreciate you doing this right now.
Always,
Hopefully,
bro.
we can rock it again this coming Friday. We get a chance to do a show together this coming Friday. You see Susie put something else. You see it there? It says, Leon is the flip side of the coin of my life. We both ended up at a crossroads, and I chose to have a child to save my life because I knew the other road would have led me down a similar path as his.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Susan's smart. She knows
It's Susie,
when
by the
people,
way. But go ahead.
When people know, you said Susie or Susan.
Susie
Okay. I
with
can't
with
see
a
it. It's
Z.
small.
No, that's all right. You good. You good. You
Okay.
good.
So yeah, I
Hopefully you'll
see it
get a
now.
chance to meet her. Hopefully you'll get a chance to meet her this Friday. She'll be on the show with us.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So when people, she's aware, and whether she had her baby at 15 or 25, she knew, well, if I have this baby, I need to go. That's the thing about having that wherewithal. So the thing about my therapy is that I gain awareness, like Susie. I gain
Ah.
awareness. If you don't,
Mm,
narcissistic people that are not diagnosed, that have the traits, 8, 9, or 10 traits, they don't have that awareness. They know what they're doing. Sometimes they don't even know why, and sometimes they don't even know. Remember that happening. Like me, I'm like that didn't happen, but it did. So
mm.
she's clear when she had her awakening moment, and when you have one awakening moment, there are a dozen more that are gonna come to you.
Whoa, wait, time out for a second. Okay? So me, for example, NPD, the diagnosed per se, all that. I have an awakening moment. You're saying there's more that's coming that I will remember, or I'm going to be doing
You're gonna both. You're
both.
gonna be
Oh wow.
remember. You're gonna be doing, and then you're gonna have privy to something that you didn't know that was there. So that awakening moment, if you pay attention to it like Susie did, if you latch on and you realize, oh, this is what I need to do. So she made a conscious decision to go this way. I made a decision to go this way, although it was much rougher and worse than hers. But I made that decision. Then I came back around. So my awakening moment happened to me and for me too. She had it.
Mm.
And once you have that awakening moment, it's like when you talk about the light bulb going off,
Yeah,
that's that
yeah.
awakening moment. So what are you going to do with that awakening moment? She did
Ah.
it. She did. So she had a child and she became a mother and she became a leader and she became a developer, helper of a little baby, a little human. And so now maybe she was hurt from her child's father. Maybe he didn't pay attention to whatever happened. She had somebody else to love on because she might have been chasing love from this man and he wouldn't give it to her. Then
Mm.
she has a baby. It's like, oh, I can love my child. This is what I can teach my child love instead of wanting it from somebody that couldn't give it to you, like I was that guy. So she had her child, and it's like it made a big difference in her life. Now I guarantee somebody like Susan works for her child, not just for herself. I guarantee you.
Hey, what do you say about that, Susie? Do you feel yourself working for your child, or felt that way? She does say. It says on the screen there. She says this literally is blowing my mind. I knew.
Yeah,
So she's understanding and agreeing with you 1,000%. Matter of fact, she did mention that her child, her son, gave her a purpose to be responsible
there you go.
and a reason to live.
Yep, and that's all she needs. Now, women want a man, would like a man, want a companionship, but she needs that child. She don't need a man. But it'd be nice to have him come around and go to dinner and go to the plays and stuff. But you know what? Okay, you don't like me, you don't want to go to movies. All right, I'll take my son, MF. or I go to the
Mm.
park with my son, and that's enough for her. I know
That's
for a
yeah.
fact it is.
Yeah, it's enough peace for her.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
satisfied with that instead of dealing with
yeah,
the drama and trauma of
exactly.
a man who hasn't grown up yet.
Yeah,
She
somebody's
mentioned
rejecting her. Her son's
she
not gonna
does.
reject her.
Yeah, she does say to you, no one has ever understood me like that, based upon what you just said. And the other thing she says, I popped up on the screen, says speechless right now with an
Cause
exclamation mark.
yeah, when she
She
had
see. Go ahead.
her awakening moment, that awakening moment, Pax, is profound. It's life changing, and a lot of people don't connect with it. They have it. You know what women do? They push it away. Well, I want to give Leon another chance. Me, Leon, speaking of Leons and Leonas around the world,
Right,
I want to give
right,
him another chance instead of saying, you know what, this is my, like I did a video last night
right.
about narcissistic people coming to your life for a season to season you, to show you, hey, you shouldn't like me, but you do. You shouldn't try to love me, but you do.
Yeah.
This is the type of man you like. Are you kidding me? Why do you like Leon? I don't communicate. I don't hug you. I don't hold your hand. And so we come into your life for a reason and a season. And that season might be 1 week or it might be 6 months. But sometimes you extend the season too long with a narcissistic person. I'm already there in your face. You're already aware of who I am. I don't tell you I love you. I don't cuddle with you. Yet you hold on. So you're extending your own season and it's not good. That's going against nature.
You're extending your own season
Yeah.
beyond the expiration date. They should have been gone out of your life,
Exactly.
and
Beyond the that's right. Exactly.
but they keep them in.
Yeah. So the winter up here, the winter is 3, 4 months. Spring is 3, 4 months. Summer is 3, 4 months. Whatever. Fall is 3, 4 months. 3, 6, 9, 12. Some people have a winter for 7, 8, 9 months.
I knew you were gonna say. I saw you, dude. We talk too much. I saw you were gonna say that. My goodness, they extended it. Wait, they extended to 6 months. There is no summer. There is no spring, and they squeeze it in on fall, and they wonder why their life is falling down.
Exactly. There you go.
Blame the narc. Blame the narc, and maybe
Hmm.
we just got to pull the plug.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, and say, hey, you know what? I see who you are and what time it is. Go do what you got to go do.
Period.
Like Jesus talking to Judas, huh?
Yeah. There you go.
Do what you left her speechless, and she says this to you. She says, "I still played the game, and now stay away because I don't know what I am capable of on the other side."
Yeah. It's actually pretty scary. But when she had her awakening moment, she had her son. That's enough for her right now. That will keep her grounded for the rest of her life.
Man,
And if she chooses to try to sprinkle around and say, what's on the other side? She
mm.
has that strength now and the love for her son enough to not want to go too far away, mommy. So she might step over here a little bit, but she coming back. She'll be back. She ain't playing. A lot of times when women get hurt and they have that awakening moment, they become very powerful people on down the line. They do better at work. They do better at home. They do better with their children. They do better with their friends, and they do better with their family. It takes one narcissistic person or one toxic person to give them that awakening moment. But if they just latch on to and see it and understand it and take it as a lesson, okay, this is my season with Leon. He gave me 4 months. My season, Leon, is over with. Now I'm going into spring. I'm gonna spring into action. Now I'm gonna have some summer fun.
Mhm.
You taught me a lesson, Leon, and thank you. Goodbye. I forgive you and I release you.
Instead of holding on to it
Exactly.
and going to fix it,
Yeah. Right.
I'm going to change him.
You change yourself trying to change me. Yeah.
Your facial expression. I must take a screenshot of that. That is, you're like, you better stop that. You better put that.
Hmm.
You better put those shoes down. They too tight for your feet.
Right. Yep.
She says another thing to you here, Leon. Listening to Leon is like hearing who I could have been. There, by
Oh
the
yeah.
grace of God, go I.
There you go. By the grace of God, who she could have been. That's right. And then maybe not. Maybe she may not have had her beautiful son had she kept going down that
Oh
other
wow,
path.
that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a
I
good
look at
point.
these things. That awakening moment, like Oprah talks about that aha moment. Oh, once you get it and you got it, oh, your life changed for the better. Trust me when I tell you. Even as narcissistic as I am, I have mine. I had mine, and all my aha moments come from women. The ones that I hurt and abused are the same ones that are getting me together now. That's my aha moment. It ain't my friends. It ain't my uncles. It ain't my brothers. It ain't no males. I never
Ah,
had an aha moment with the men in my life.
good point.
Not knocking the men, but the women.
Oh
Like
man,
people that keep you going past your daughters.
you got that right, man. Ahas come from women.
Yep.
Even if,
And
hey,
I
no offense, no offense, but to some that may hear this, but even if they're narcissistic, because you at least get to go like,
yep,
you
that's right.
you know what, a narcissistic woman can teach you who the narcissistic men are in your life if you pay attention.
I did it that video I did last
You
night.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I talked about me coming into your life to show you that you can be better and you can do better, and this is who you like.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, that's a whole other show. We're gonna have to talk off camera. That's a good one right there. I like that.
I
And
got
she
you,
got
brother.
something else. She got something else for you. She says, "Deep. Nope. Now I have 5 grandchildren. Trauma knows trauma."
Wow. Yep. And so she's the one that's going to keep all of those people in her family, the grandchildren. She's the what is it about the woman, the matriarch, right?
Yeah. Uh huh. Uh huh.
She has that role to help. So what she did was she stopped that generational curse, whatever it was, whatever her mother did, whatever her mother took on as abuse, whatever her sisters, her aunts, Susie's the one that stopped it because I'm sure there were some women in her family that she was going to be just like not in a bad way, but it's we
Yeah.
emulate
Right.
our
Right.
parents and it's
Carrying that
changed.
trauma. Uh huh.
Yeah, carrying that trauma forward, right? And so she stopped it so she can help. She's the bridge before to that the bridge to those grandchildren
Got
having
it.
a beautiful, lovely,
Yeah.
healthy life. She's
Yeah.
the conduit to that.
Yeah. Got it. Got it. It's similar to you talking about the work ethic of your parents.
Yeah, it's
There's
similar.
a
The
lot of
same
other
thing.
things, a lot of things that could be looked at, a lot of things that could have been done differently, but you were able to pull out those positives and move forward, and now you become this hedge, this wedge against narcissistic
Yeah,
traits and behavior taking over the life of the young coming after you. The
exactly.
people, even the young people you meet, just the people you meet. I mean, it goes even outside anybody
Yeah,
biologically
not just
connected.
family.
Yeah,
Right, not just
right,
family.
right.
That's right.
Dude, seriously, everybody, do me a huge favor. Let me see if I put this back up here. Everybody, please make sure you go to Leon's website. That is www.leonrobertwalkerjr.com. LeonRobertWalkerJr.com. You go by Robert a lot? Do people call you Robert?
No, no, I hate that name, but it's my middle name.
I've been waiting to ask you that one. I got a whole
Yeah,
bunch that may just pop in my head. But
right.
Susie gave you some happy hands, clapping hands, or hallelujah hands,
Happy
all the
hands,
above.
high five.
You gave her a therapy session. You do take on one-on-one sessions or no? Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I do one-on-ones for free. I had to slow it down because it was like, over. I was overbooked, and so
Yeah.
I, my manager, we charge for group sessions, and I'm not greedy, but I do one-on-ones for free. I do free 30-minute one-on-ones. I got one coming up today, and I do it for 30 minutes on my Zoom. So yeah, but the group sessions I do charge. I'm going to do one I think next month in Florida, then
Okay.
another one somewhere else. But yeah, but one-on-ones are free for 30
Okay.
minutes.
Got it. Got it. All right. You can't leave yet. She got another one for you here. She says, "Amen. Hardest work I've ever done. Till my last breath, I know I'll be fighting that generation curse."
Yeah. See, that's another awakening moment for her. She knows she'll be fighting that generational curse to her last dying breath, which is okay and that's fine because she knows it. So now it's in front of her, but she can manage it
Got it.
because
Got it.
that's her assignment now.
Oh, dude, look at the way you just dropped that in there.
Yeah,
That's her
that's her.
assignment.
That's her assignment. She knows it. I guarantee you, what wakes Susie up is her children and her grandchildren. The thought of being a mother and a grandmother. That's what drives her.
A
I
leader. I like the way you
guarantee
said
you.
that. A leader.
Yeah, I guarantee you, the matriarch. That's her assignment. That's her role. Aside from what she does now for corporate America or wherever she works, her other role is way more important to that, and that's where she gets her love and caring and her energy, and that's what keeps her alive. I guarantee you that.
Hey, thanks for doing this this morning. Oh, wait, I was about to say goodbye to you, but hey, nope, she got this for you. She got 3 hearts, some clapping hands. She says, "Thank you, Leon." There,
You're
you just
welcome,
had, hey,
Susie.
Susie, you just did your session with Leon today.
Right. We got
You
a
got
session
your
together.
30 minutes right here.
It was,
Thanks
yeah, it
so.
was probably less than that, but she came in around maybe 20, 30 minutes ago. Yeah, that's about right.
Hey, thank you, man, for doing this. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
you know, I got you, Pax. I
Yeah,
got you,
man.
brother.
Hey, likewise. Everybody, please keep this in mind. You expect to hear and see more of Leon here on our network. We got some things that we're going to be working on. My whole objective is to answer everybody's questions concerning Leon. And Leon, I haven't even talked to you about that. I got so much that people have wrote me since the first time you've been on. I'm compiling it, putting it together, and making a show out of it so that everybody, guys, I did ignore you. He's back, and we're gonna. There's some things I got to share with him. Your questions, and he's gonna answer those. Expect a show coming from Leon on a regular basis here on NATV Network. I really appreciate you doing this for the viewers.
Yeah,
We're just a small blimp on the universe, but I appreciate you coming and being a part of this, man.
I
Seriously,
got you, brother.
big time,
You
man.
know that.
Appreciate it, brother,
Anytime,
man.
you know how
Thanks,
we
brother,
work.
man.
All
Appreciate it.
right,
I'll
Pax.
see you later. I'll talk to you
All
soon.
right, brother.
Later,
Okay.
everybody. See you
Bye
guys later.
bye.
We're out. Bye.